All right, hello and welcome to another comic review. My name is Jesse. I am joined by TFG1 Mike from geekcastradio.com.
Hello.
And also joining us on this episode of the show, we have Ryan, aka Nightbeat, aka, do you want to be called anything else?
The UnEvenflow is what I'm going by now.
Okay, well, I never called you that. So.
Wow. Wow, and you're not plugging my network, which is the Up Nerd Podcast Network.
Oh, okay. Are you on that?
I am the main host.
Right.
We have a number of shows.
So I know nothing about that.
Wow.
I can send you the audio ad after this.
Thanks for that.
Well, I guess we should have done plugs first, right? So I would have known about it.
Oh, well. Anyway. We're not here for plugs.
We're not here for plugs, at least not yet. We're here to talk about Transformers number 4. But before we get to that, because Ryan has not joined us for any of the previous recordings here, I'd like to get your thoughts and a quick review here of issues 1 through 3 of Transformers.
I thought we were just here to talk about 4. I don't know anything about 3. I was supposed to read those before this?
You can just make it up.
No, I've liked it. I commented on this way back when this was announced, but I like Daniel Warren Johnson. I think he's a exceptionally good artist, and I've enjoyed the stuff he's written. And obviously he's doing both again on this series for now. But I liked 1 to 3, and I like it. It's tough for me. Initially, my reaction was kind of negative, and I eventually realized I was being stupid. So my thing was the IDW universe from 2005 till 2019 was kind of my Transformer comics in a lot of ways. It was really well done for most of it, and it got an end, which most of the Transformers stuff... How many Transformers finales have we actually seen? There have been
Not
very
many.
few.
Yeah.
Prime got to end on its own terms, but aside from that, it never does. So in a lot of ways, the 2005 IDW series was sort of my series. And when I heard they were going to go back and redo G1, we've seen so many reinterpretations of G1 at this point. I was not super excited. But no, I finally kind of got over that, realized that this is something completely different. It's not existing in competition with anything, blah, 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 blah. And it's really good. I like seeing Optimus Prime as more of Optimus Prime. One of my big complaints with the Bay movies is he's a little kill happy.
Only a little?
He's very kill happy.
Yeah.
No, I like this so far though. And there's some things, killing Bumblebee off early initially kind of felt like it was kind of trying to do some edgelord stuff, but no, it's not. It's been really good so far. I've enjoyed it a lot. The art is fantastic, by the way. Seems to fit seems to fit the style well. They'll be okay. Comics change artists all the time. Anyway. Yep. But no, I really liked it. And I like the characterization. I like the focus on a very small cast so far. That's something, if anyone's ever heard Mike and I review bits of the IDW 2.0 universe, that's something I liked, when they would focus on a smaller cast and actually give characterization to them. And something IDW 1.0 did really well. And something this one's doing well too. But the G1 series didn't necessarily always do that. Usually you'd get the first episode focused on whatever new toy was out. They would introduce themselves by name. They would make themselves look super cool. And then they'd fade into the background. And if you were lucky, or if they really liked that character, they might show up one other time. And that's about it.
Until you got to the end where, may the man rest in peace, David Wise and everybody else had to throw in 120 new characters because they cut the 5-parter to a 3-parter. But let's not revisit 40 years of history.
Well, six shot got 20 seconds to do something.
Yeah.
And then never showed up ever again. So
I get a question for you. So, So Mike and I kind of discussed this. I believe it was in the last episode where we reviewed 3 and 4. 2, 3, and 4. What the hell? What did we review then?
Last
definitely not 4 because that's this one.
We did issue 1 first. We did
3,
issue
rather.
2 second, and then we did 3. Yeah, 2 to 3. Yeah, 2 to 3 together. Yeah.
The numbering gives it away. So if you
It
think
does,
about
yes. So we discussed the violence and how it seems to be rather violent. What are your thoughts on kind of the how graphic it seems to be?
I'm fine with it. Initially, like I said before, the Bumblebee death kind of felt like it was roaming too far towards we want to show how super adult we are. But I didn't get that feeling ever again. And then when I heard his reasoning for it, I was more okay with it. I'm fine with it. There have been violent Transformer stuff. I mean, they're giant robots, so there probably should be some stuff like, Pharma getting cut in
Ooh, don't
half.
spoil. No,
Or,
that's a spoiler. I've been trying to get Jesse to read those damn comics. You just
oops,
spoiled the hell out of that. Don't spoil stuff.
fine. Or any time Overlord shows up in
Yeah,
IDW, you're
pretty much.
guaranteed for some graphic killing. It's
Yeah.
fine. They're giant robots. It annoys me a lot less than it would if they were actual human characters and there was sort of body horror involved.
Oh, just wait for Cobra Commander. Yeah,
Okay, so not a big issue. You would expect it. What about the Transformers on human violence there?
All right, there is some human killing. Again, it makes sense to me though. So one of my big things with some of the Transformers comics and shows and everything over the years is, and especially the movies, by the way, the humans can do way too much damage to a Transformer. These are supposed to be giant robot war machines, and they get their asses kicked by humans all the time. So to see them get some revenge, squish some dumb fleshies, I'm in favor of it.
Okay.
I see nothing but Starscream's face as Ryan is talking.
Wow.
No, when you said squish some dumb fleshies, like
Oh, yeah.
it said in the ooh fleshies and squish. Ooh.
All right, so I think enough on issues 1, 2, and 3. Let's move to the topic of this episode, which is Transformers number 4 by Daniel Warren Johnson, Mike Spicer, and Russ Wooten. So quick synopsis from imagecomics.com. When the Decepticons attack the Autobots at their weakest moment, an unlikely new hero joins the battle. With human and Transformer robot lives at stake, can Optimus Prime unlock the true power behind the matrix of leadership to save them both? Also, I guess a quick question for Ryan. Have you noticed the running joke of the Matrix in like every issue?
Yeah, I know. It's
Okay.
they really like the Matrix. This is the anti G1 season 1 and 2 where they hadn't come up with it yet.
Yep.
And instead here, yeah, we see it in every single issue.
Yep.
I have a very important Matrix question though that I
Yep.
need answered.
Sure.
If anyone can ask this to Daniel, this is my question. How does Optimus Prime open the Matrix with one arm? The one side just sort of hangs there in the air.
Uh-huh. Yep.
That's a very important question to me. There's even hand grips for it. So how does he open it with one arm?
Well, he's only pulling the one side.
I know, but there's no force on the other side. He would just be waving it around.
It's magic, man.
I know. Nobody understands the Matrix, I guess.
All right, so my quick rundown here, which is a little bit more in depth than what we get from Image Comics. So we open with Starscream walking over the downed Skywarp, who proclaims he will return while transforming into a jet and taking off to pursue Prime. We cut to Optimus, who is transporting Sparkplug and an injured Spike in his cab, dodging laser fire from the incoming Starscream. Optimus arrives at a hospital where they quickly take Spike to the ER, but an all-out battle ensues when the Decepticons show up. Starscream blasts the hospital, sending it into flames as Cliffjumper, Ratchet, and Jazz arrive to help turn the tide, causing the Decepticons to retreat. With the power out in the hospital and things looking bad for Spike, Optimus unleashes the power of the Matrix, dun, 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 which brings the hospital back online. Meanwhile, Starscream and Soundwave recover the alien Skywarp, only to violently rip him apart for scrap parts. Needed to find Energon badly, Optimus does the unthinkable and attaches Megatron's severed right arm, complete with fusion cannon, to his own body. We close with a shot of Megatron's carcass frozen somewhere in ice and a red light lit on his chest. So overall thoughts and reviews of this issue.
Let's have the guest go first, because yikes.
Wow. Why yikes? That sounds weird. That sounds ominous.
Yikes.
Okay. Anyway.
I didn't dislike it, but yeah.
Apparently. Yikes is a pretty damning phrase.
I've got issue.
Oh man, I
I don't
really liked
dislike it.
this. I really loved this movie. Oh yikes! Nobody says that.
Funny.
Anyway, I enjoyed it. I'm perfectly fine with it. We get to see Jazz for the first time, so we expand the roster a little bit, although we only see him for a few panels because the Autobots are still really low on Energon. Everybody's low on Energon at this point, but
Mm-hmm.
they give Soundwave a little bit more to do. I don't know. I really liked this. We see more of. I was curious where Optimus was going in the last issue with the whole "I'm going to fix Spike" sort of thing. I didn't. I guess I expected him to bring him to Ratchet and them to magically heal him or something like that. Not I'm going to bring him to a human hospital with significantly worse technology than Transformers are used to. Not that they necessarily have anything to fix the terrible fleshies, but still.
We
In
we
any
talked.
case,
I was going to say, Mike and I talked about this in the last episode. We were thinking maybe they would have turned him into Autobot Spike.
oh god, this feels a
Oh,
little
they
early
did.
for that episode. Oh boy, everyone's favorite episode of the G1 cartoon. Anywho, no, I really like this. I like we get some more of Starscream being scummy. I mean, initially he A just leaves Skywarp, and then B later on they rip him apart for parts,
Yep.
which is real nice. Not too surprising, but kind of limits their number of troops. In any case, no, I'm semi curious what your problems are. I think it's a really good continuation of the other issues we've seen.
Yeah, it's not so much that I have problems with it. Again, I like the issue. My problem is, even though hopefully he's only offline just because of the Energon shortage, we see Jazz. Awesome, we see Jazz. I can hear Scatman in my head. And then Jazz is essentially dead. That's my problem.
Well, no, he's just offline because of the energy shortage. They even say
Yeah,
they only had a limited amount. He'll be
right.
fine.
Yeah.
They just need to fix their energy problems. And we see near the end the humans have an idea on how to do that. So
Yep.
I'm fine with it.
I think my favorite panel besides seeing Jazz show up is Optimus basically running right over Starscream in the beginning, where he said, "What did he say? Uh, Thank you, Cliff Jumper." Bah! Just running right over Starscream's head.
That was
Absolutely
nice.
love
The
that.
reveal that apparently Transformers can mix and match parts,
Mm-hmm.
as in the reveal that Optimus has
Yep.
Megatron's right arm, including fusion cannon, is pretty
Yep.
awesome.
Yes, it is.
So we'll see where they go with that. No, I liked this quite a bit. I think it's just I put it on the same level as the first three issues. It's been a good series so far. Really great start, frankly.
Your thoughts, Mike?
Oh, I
Yikes.
agree with what he's saying. Well, no, again, my yikes was Jazz is no longer here, but like you said, he's just offline, he's not dead. But like my thinking was, oh crap, they didn't exactly do this, but oh crap, they ripped him in half. And that's my first movie reference. My second movie reference will be the end of this with Megatron, because it looks like, hey, Megatron in the ice, just like the first movie.
Yeah,
Or the
he's been in
second
the ice
movie.
a few times in different
Yeah,
Transformers
but the way
things.
this final page looks, it reminds me of when he was in ice in the Bayverse.
Well, he had more of his parts in that, though.
True.
He's missing some important things on this one.
Yeah,
My big
like
question so far
his arm.
is my big question so far is we've established from the Paramount Plus commercials that he exists in the Transformers universe is where is Bill's quarterback, Josh Allen? It's important for me, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, this is good, and like Ryan said, I love that we get way more Soundwave than we did Starscream this time around. And Carly and Cliff Jumper are a better team than Spike and Bumblebee ever were.
Anything
What
else
about?
there?
No, that's it for me. What
No.
about you?
Yeah. So one of the things that I know that I've talked about with you, Mike, is that I really hate like the downtime
Mm-hmm.
in these comics. I'm a big fan of all the action sequences.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, with as much action as what there is in this issue, the panels that I liked, or the pages that I liked specifically, are those where there is some downtime. So
Mm-hmm.
Sparkplug gets to talk with Optimus. They learn a little bit more about each other, and we get some more character building between Cliff Jumper and Carly,
Yep.
which I think is really great. because I like we had talked about before. We don't think right with Bumblebee gone. I don't think he's coming back. We're not going to get that Spike Bumblebee relationship. So we're going to get the
No.
Cliff Jumper Carly relationship here. So I like seeing them kind of expand on that in this issue here.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I told you before, for me personally, and I'm sure Ryan will echo this, I hope, comics to me is a balance. You have action, you have
Yep.
story. You have action, you have story. You have a mix of them. You don't sometimes there are some issues that are just all action and a little bit of story, and then sometimes you have an issue where it's all story and just a little bit of action. You balance that out and you have a great comic book issue.
The balance means that you need the downtime to make the action actually mean something.
Yep.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything if we don't know anything about the characters or that sort of thing. I preferred, so going back to IDW 1.0, I liked a lot of the downtime because we finally got to see the characters outside of the war and got to see what it does to them and what you do with the weapons of war once the war is over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so overall, I really enjoyed this issue. Just like Ryan said, I mean, I completely agree with you. This is a fantastic series so far. Obviously, I'm reading it. Right, as someone who was not at all interested in comics, I'm totally in on this Energon universe thing. I'm reading all of them. So yeah, I'm very curious here on the last page again with Megatron frozen in ice. How we get to, I'm not going to spoil the entire thing here, but I'll just say that how we get to the end of Cobra Commander #1 to what we see here.
Yeah.
Really curious as to what's going on there. And based on what we have here for a preview for the next issue, maybe he'll be coming back. I don't know.
Maybe.
So I guess just to transition into that really quick. So teaser for issue #5, it says Starscream revives one of the most powerful Decepticons to eliminate the Autobots once and for all. If that's not Megatron, who do you envision that is?
Reflector.
I was going to say Galvatron because hopefully they're the same guy, but
What's true? Reflector can blind you, right?
Exactly.
I was mentally trying to go through like who are some of the weakest Decepticons from the early seasons, and Reflector is the one that I came up with just for fun. I'm trying to think of who else there is.
Yeah, he really didn't do much other than spy and take pictures.
He transforms into a camera. That's not exactly a particularly violent alt mode. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, not unless your Flash is, a fusion cannon.
In terms of pure firepower for early Generation 1 Transformers, and the obvious one would be the Constructicons, but they're not considered one.
Right.
So it seems pretty clear it'll be either Megatron or there's a decent chance I'd say Shockwave, but resurrecting Shockwave would be a real bad move for Starscream because Shockwave generally takes over pretty quickly in most things, and he's well above Starscream's rank, which is not saying much because Starscream's a whiny little guy.
Yes, I guess as far as we know, though, right? Shockwave is still active, still around, at least based on the Void Rivals comics.
Yeah,
but again, we don't know when that takes place in the timeline.
Yeah, or when he's going to arrive. Or it seems inevitable he'll be in.
Probably. I would assume so. Or at some point, they're going to do some sort of connecting multi. I think is it the Free Conflict Day issue? I don't. They're doing so. They're going to do something where all of these universes collide together. So we're going to see everybody all at once at some point. But with this being a brand new thing, we just have to wait and see. This isn't IDW Shockwave, at least as far as we know. It isn't. It's all I can say. I'm not saying anymore. I don't want to, ruin my own rule of spoiling it for you. But Ryan knows IDW Shockwave. Oh boy. Whew.
Yes, I guess does everyone in agreement then? You think it's going to be Megatron that he's reviving?
Yeah, it's presumably going to be Megatron. But
so he's going to be walking around with just one arm.
No,
I'm sure Megatron will just, split somebody else in half and grab their arm.
No, I think Starscream's not an idiot. If he brings Megatron back in some form, he'll have some method of controlling him.
That's true.
I'm not sure that he will be whole. It might just be something where he's automated a lot of Megatron or something like that. So it wouldn't shock me. We'll see.
So we'll get a zombie Megatron.
Yeah, kind of.
Great.
Zombie Megatron or Starscream grafts himself into the body. There's a few options here.
Yeah,
Cortical psychic patch.
that's that's the
That's
crossover with The Walking Dead, I guess.
right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, we had
Um,
Zombie Prime in Dark Awakening, so
yeah. Yeah. All right, so that issue will be out on February 14th. So hey, Ray, Valentine's Day.
Happy
Oh boy.
Valentine's
It'll
Day,
be
everybody.
hopefully some romantic body horror or Transformers body horror for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so closing thoughts. Mike, I know you wanted to mention the change of artists for Transformers.
Yeah, so really quickly, George Corona is going to take over as series artist, starting with Transformers number 7. And I don't mind this. We said this a little bit off air that, as much as this was Daniel Warren Johnson's thing, he is still writing it. But doing a comic book all by yourself, doing from the writing to the line drawing to the coloring to the all that stuff, and I know he doesn't do it by himself, but he does the main art. I don't mind, and Ryan knows this. I don't mind art changes because I'm so used to art changes at this point. And look, and it gives people a chance. Hey, this is your chance to draw Transformers. This is awesome. Look at how many artists that IDW used in their nearly 20 years or so, or whatever the hell, 17, 18 years that they had Transformers. So many cool artists came through IDW's run. I don't mind this at all. It's going to be a little weird and a little different, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, I don't think.
I'm not sold on it yet. I got to see this issue.
Well, you got to see more. Yeah, I mean, you got to see issue 7 once it comes out, kind of thing, and we'll judge it then. But as far as the overall announcement, and as far as what Mr. Corona says, he says even though it had classic good versus evil premise, it also added malleability to what the characters could do in that world. Betrayals, regrets, self doubts were all emotions that drove these characters, and it added a complexity that I wasn't familiar with in other shows. Fast forward 30 years, 40 years technically later, here I am seeing Daniel's tale on the franchise, rooted in his love for the original Generation 1 version, and it's like reliving those childhood memories multiplied by thousands. I'm very honored and humbled to be part of this project and cannot wait to share all of the craziness that is coming up in the book. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm just going to be disappointed if the art isn't at the same level.
Yeah, I mean that is a common sort of thing. Hopefully it'll be good. No, I'm fine with it just because it happens and it is probably a lot of work to both write and do the art for it. But
Yeah.
as Mike said, I'm pretty used to it at this point. It happens pretty frequently. At least it's happening at the end of
The
an
arc.
arc
Yeah.
because I hate it when it happens mid arc or anything like that.
Yeah. And again, that's the coolest thing about this is we don't know what the Skybound higher ups are doing with it. We know that hey, this was the first arc. This is Daniel Warren Johnson's everything arc where he's all of it like I said. The next arc, let's say 7 through 12, I want to say something like that, 7 through 12, 7 through 6, 13, whatever it is, that's going to be George's arc. And what if the next arc is somebody else? It gives somebody a chance to do something that they've never done before. And they find artists and they have, it's a good thing. We may not like the art when it happens, but the overall announcement, I feel, is good because this will allow Johnson to focus solely on the story and not have to worry about I have to do both writing and art at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the new artist's work. Like, I haven't seen it, or if I've seen
I've
it.
never even heard of him, so
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
I've never heard his name up until now, so
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe we're gonna have to look into it for the future issues and all that stuff, and I'll do some research after we finish this up. But yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing about a new comic book series is you get introduced to things you have not seen before.
Yeah, I mean, I guess looking at the issue, or right, the cover for issue 7, assuming that he's the one who drew this, it looks similar. Like the artwork is similar. The arc, which is what I'm guessing they're standing on, appears to be very detailed. The Transformers themselves, less so.
Yeah.
So if it's similar, which this appears to be, again, if he drew this, I'm not too worried. But where I started reading the Duke series, Duke #1, and that art is just like, when you compare that to anything we've seen in Transformers so far, it
Yeah.
just doesn't even compare. I don't want to see it kind of go down that road. So I'm hoping whoever they get for an artist for Transformers, that it at the very least it's a similar style, and we don't lose too much of the, I would say, hyper detail that we get in that we've seen so far in issues 1 through 4 here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And from what I can tell, the B cover is George Corona. The A cover is Daniel. So let me see here.
Okay, I
That
don't know which one I'm
is
looking at then.
It's okay. I'm trying to see which one that is. They usually mark these things, but anyway, you'll be able to tell the difference in the art because Daniel has his own style and George has his own style. And wow, Skybound, really? You don't put A or B on your covers like everybody else in the world does? Come on now. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
All right. Well, I can tell you from this is probably a spoiler, but hey, if you're looking at the artwork online, Alita 1 is on the cover of this,
Mm-hmm.
so we're at least getting another Transformer there.
Yep.
I guess RC's there as well.
RC, yeah.
Yep.
Although keep in mind, as a longtime comic reader, the covers don't always actually reflect what's in the issue.
Right.
No.
Right.
In this
No, they
issue,
don't.
someone dies. No, they didn't. In this issue, yeah.
Well, so far though, it's been pretty spot on. Well, I guess with the
Well-
exception of in this issue, it does have Wheeljack on the cover there. We've
Well,
not seen Wheeljack.
He was
In any
getting
battle.
worked on. He was getting worked on in the one panel.
Uh-huh.
That's true. That's true.
So there's a commentary thing from I don't think this was in the other article. Again, this is why.
Yeah, he does commentary for each issue.
Right, yeah, Daniel does, but in the TFW news posting for the comic cover, the #7 thing, Warren Johnson says, "It's a rare breed of artist that can naturally bring an organic quality to things that are inherently mechanical, and George is one of those chosen few. Prepare your eyes for a feast of brawn and beauty. My friends, this man draws a mean-looking sound wave. Kabam!" So, hey, as long as they're excited to be doing it, I'm excited to be checking it out and seeing and making up my mind once we actually get to the point of getting to issue 7. But we haven't even finished the first arc yet because issue 5 and 6 aren't even out.
You're going to wait for it to make up your mind? Usually you just watch the trailer.
Well, I did watch the season 2 trailer for the Energon universe, and I'm digging it so far. So, you know.
I was referring to movies. I was making a funny
Yeah, I know.
joke.
This is comics. This is not movies.
All right, fine. Anyway.
I am very anxious to dive back into Void Rivals, though. It's been nice having a break. That way, I don't have to buy as many comics per month now. But I am anxious to kind of dive back in there and see where that story goes.
I'm going to turn this around, ask you a question.
Ask me a question?
Yes.
Sure.
Where are you in the other IDW stuff? Did you ever continue on with that?
So I'm about. So I've not finished it. No, I'm nowhere near finishing.
No, I know.
I'm about,
I figured.
I am about 10 issues in.
Into where? Which series?
1.0?
So it's the More Than Meets the Eye series.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Oh, geez. I'm jealous. You're in the, yeah. So you've read stuff like Last Stand of the Wreckers.
No, he hasn't.
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, he hasn't.
Oh,
he jumped.
boy.
He jumped into More Than Meets the Eye. I told him, like I tell everybody
Yeah,
who
that's fine.
wants to read IDW. I told him. I said, you got to start with the Death of Optimus Prime one shot, and then you can pick your path. You can either pick More Than Meets the Eye or Robots in Disguise, or you can read them both.
Well, either,
He
ideally you alternate because it's at some points they'll cross over. But
Yeah,
yeah, Last Stand is required for More Than Meets the Eye in particular. So it's your
Okay.
introduction to Overlord. It
And
is.
it's
Last Stand
a
is
treat.
generally considered the best Transformers comic. Start, stop, end sentence.
Okay.
period, exclamation point.
And
Okay.
it's by one of the artists, Alex Milne, and by
Nick Roche.
Nick Roche. Jeez, wrong one. It's by Nick Roche, one of the artists, and by the writer of More Than Meets the Eye,
James Roberts.
James Roberts. So it is very good. and
Yeah.
it's sort of required. But yeah, I'm jealous because you get to read more than meets the eye for the first time. Much like on one of my shows on the Up Nerd Podcast Network, my wife will be watching a movie for the first time.
Is it
And
Star Wars? Don't tell me
no,
it's Star Wars.
no, it's not Star Wars.
Okay.
I hate. Can we get all right? Total tangent here. So one of our bi-weekly shows is Fine You Pick, where somebody just picks a movie and the other person has to watch it. And so far, I've been doing it with my wife, and I've chosen movies that she hasn't seen, and she's chosen to torture me back. But in any case, I hate this whole I'm watching Star Wars for the first time, or the stuff on YouTube. There is no way these people are watching some of these movies for the first time. I just
Depends on how young they are. I mean, if they weren't
yeah,
old
but
enough to.
what are the chances you've reached the age of like 26 or 27 and you've never seen a Star Wars movie or don't have any sort of knowledge of it?
Hey, look, man, Steve and I are going on an altered trek this year because I was 7 years old when Next Generation started, and I barely remember that, and I have not watched Next Generation at all in the last almost 40 years. So
Whereas I
I'm
can tell
rewatching
you
it for the first time.
Whereas I can tell you what happens on every
Right,
planet.
exactly. So
Anyway.
exactly. So can Steve. That's the point. Steve's the expert. I'm kind of coming into it as someone
It's
who's
a little-
on the edge of the universe.
Yeah, but it's a little different than a film, which is only a 2-hour commitment versus a TV series that ran for 7 years.
True.
So, in any case,
But-
even bringing it back, I'm kind of, I mentioned, I'm jealous of Jesse. He gets to read more than meets the eye for the first time. I wish I could. My wife gets to see.
You did, though. You did read it for the first time. You read it as it was happening.
I know, but I wish I could do it again. That's my point. Is
Well,
that
you can,
feeling?
but you already know all of it. Yeah.
All right.
I know
I
the
was
feeling.
completely missing the point. Anyway,
I get it. I get it.
You
my
smack
wife-
yourself in the head enough times, you might forget it. You can go back.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
right.
only way to do it. But yeah, my wife gets to watch Alien for the first time ever.
Hey, I've never seen Alien.
Oh boy, you should watch it.
I won't ever watch Alien. It's not my kind of movie.
No, I mean I want to watch it. I want to watch Aliens as well. Probably the first 3 movies. I know 3 isn't on par with the first 2, but
It's still good and still worth watching.
I'm waiting for the 4K release, which I think they just recently released.
Yeah,
Before I pick it up.
yeah. I just have it on Blu-ray. I would like the 4K. I'll pick it up at some point, inevitably.
I know it's out on digital on 4K now. I'm waiting for the
Yeah.
actual disc. So
Yeah, I prefer getting my 4Ks on digital. Or sorry, not on digital. Sorry, I prefer getting my 4Ks physically. There we go.
yep.
'Cause
I
we
mean,
keep
oftentimes
seeing-
they include the digital code too. So
Yeah, exactly. Plus, we keep seeing, or not keep seeing, but we've seen some services just kind of eliminate the digital version of things, or
Yep.
you're subject to a bad connection or something that day or whatever. There's lots of reasons to have it. I have Transformers the movie in 4K in physical.
me as well. Apparently, so does Mike. He just doesn't have a 4K TV.
Yeah, I do.
Or is it the 4K player you don't have?
I have it all.
Oh, you have it all now. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was something you didn't have. Like you said you had it, but you couldn't watch it in 4K.
No. What I said was when I bought Batman Mask of the Phantasm on 4K disc, it upgraded my Vudu one that I had from years ago, my Vudu.com, the one when I originally bought it digitally. So when I bought the new 4K version, I lost you.
Yeah, we were talking about Transformers the movie. How did we get to
Yeah.
Batman?
That's the point. That's the only one. But
No, you specifically
yeah.
mentioned Transformers
4K.
the movie.
What's a voodoo? Is somebody casting a curse on us?
It's an American thing, and so far as I can tell, Alien 40th Anniversary 4K UHD is
It's on
available
there, yeah.
for $26.99 on Amazon Prime, at least here in the States.
Okay, I don't know if all of them are. It may be out now. It wasn't at least a couple
Yeah.
months ago when they released it digitally. But I mean, I also use Vudu for my digital service. Like I've got
Yep.
300 some movies on there. So
Yep.
Hmm.
All
So
right. So, any other closing thoughts about Transformers number 4, or looking ahead to Transformers number 5?
Read Last Stand of the Wreckers. No, I liked no. Seriously though, I liked this a lot. I like the series quite a bit. I'm interested in seeing where it goes. I do sort of agree with Jesse. I hope there's not a drop off between artists, but I'm
yeah,
willing to give them a chance. It almost always takes an issue or two to really kind of get quote unquote the stylistic changes from artist to artist. So we'll see.
I guess one more question I got for you, Ryan. So, are you reading the rest of the Energon universe, or are you just reading
Some.
Transformers?
So I've read Duke. I haven't read. Oh, maybe I have read Cobra Commander. So I've read a decent amount of it. It looks like that's interesting. And I have read. I did read the Void Rivals series.
Okay. So then, yes, you're reading the Energon universe.
Yeah. So far I
yes,
have
he
been. Yeah.
is.
Never mind.
Okay.
I just don't know if I've pre-ordered if I've ordered the actual like GI Joe series when it's starting up.
Yeah.
So that's the
Okay.
one that I'm not sure of. I will probably read through it. I guess we'll see. I will admit, I've never been as interested in G.I. Joe. They're just
Yeah,
normal dudes with guns and that kind of thing. So I'm curious to see how it's integrated into the Transformers universe. The IDW 1.0, the G.I. Joe stuff, was not great. I did not like it. So we'll see.
and for me, like I've said for the last 15 years of my podcasting quote unquote career, I chose. I had a choice as a kid: Transformers or GI Joe. I chose the giant robots over the army men. So for me, that's where I've always been. Not that I dislike GI Joe or anything like that. I've just never
Yeah.
been the GI Joe fan. Although I am very interested to see what the Duke miniseries and the Cobra Commander miniseries do, and I will probably jump onto the Hama series too. Although I'm not reading 300 issues that previously came.
Oh, I've
No.
liked the Hama stuff because he's a very good writer. His G.I. Joe stuff's always been fantastic.
That series seems to be batshit crazy, though.
It
Yeah, we'll
is.
see.
But
Yes.
the artwork going from IDW to what we've got now in that Real American Hero series, vastly different artwork. At least at the end, from the end of IDW to what we've got
Mhm.
now, and
Yes.
it's super and highly detailed in the last couple of issues, because I've been reading this as well. I went back a couple of issues in the IDW series because I know this is a continuation, but just
Uh-huh.
really bad shit crazy in terms of what the storyline appears to be.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a little out there. Yeah, it seems good.
Um, but so Duke and Cobra Commander are going to culminate into a GI Joe series as well. That's part of the Energon universe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, I think so.
Do we know the name of that series?
Probably
Not
just G.I.
yet.
Joe, but we'll see.
I've
Okay.
I assume.
I've been watching when Skybound posts reels and stuff on Instagram to see what, and I sometimes will send Jesse the link. Hey, look, I know you're not on Instagram. If you are, or whatever, fine. But
I'm on Instagram.
look, okay. Well, I don't remember. Anyway, I'll send him the links like, hey, look at this reel. If you're not following Skybound on Instagram, check this out. And it's them talking about how they wanted to start with Void Rivals, Transformers, Duke, and Cobra Commander, and then go from there. So far we don't know. Again, like Ryan said, it's probably just going to be GI Joe something.
So you'll solicit stuff for Skybound and send it to Jesse, but you won't push my podcast network. Thanks.
Yeah, I didn't
a
even know
lot.
you
Are
were
you
podcasting.
Dude, are you kidding me? I
I'm
put your
kidding,
ad in
I'm
like
kidding.
4 different.
I'm kidding. Oh, jeez. Anyway,
My eye is starting to twitch.
Oh, he's getting angry.
good times.
No, it's not an angry
Get a
thing.
Hulk
It's
out here.
No.
Yeah, so side note on the G.I. Joe stuff, I think
Yeah.
part of it too is I don't know if you guys were the same, but in terms of my toys growing up and in terms of my action figures that were just quote unquote army guys, as Mike put it, which is not wholly inaccurate. Anyway, I didn't have G.I. Joe, but I did have Mask, which was this weird, for anyone who doesn't know, Mask was this weird sort of merger between Transformers and G.I. Joe, where you had the smaller figures that were just humans, but they had masks that would give them powers and abilities, and then they each had a vehicle that was sort of associated with them, and the vehicles would transform into sort of war machine like things. I had Boulder Hill, which was the coolest. But anyway.
So, all right, not to upstage Ryan, I
Oh,
had
here we go.
every single figure from the original line. The 1985 line, I had Boulder Hill, I had Rhino, I had Thunderhawk, I had Raven, I had everything. Yeah, Mask is awesome.
But
Well,
in
not to
terms of,
upstage both of you, I had none of
uh-oh.
them. So
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So, no, I mean, just you were mentioning that it for you, Mike. It was GI Joe or Transformers. I ended
Yeah.
up kind of going off the grid on that one. I didn't have stuff like Thundercats though, or I didn't. I don't know. Thundercats never interested me that much.
Comics, everybody.
Yeah, this fun
comics,
trip
yeah,
through the '80s
Hmm.
children's lives.
yep. All right. So, any other closing thoughts?
That's it.
All right,
I think.
plugs. This is where you get to plug, Ryan. So I know what you're doing. Didn't know you were
Apparently,
podcasting. Go ahead and
I'm
plug it.
podcasting. I am podcasting on the Up Nerd Podcast Network. We have 2 shows weekly. A show that is either, and these are bi-weekly alternating. There's Fine You Pick, where one host picks a movie for the other host to watch, and then they give their thoughts. Then there is Top 3, Bottom 3, where the 2 hosts watch the, as rated by IMDb, the top 3 episodes of a show and the bottom 3 episodes of a show, and then discuss. And then the other show every week is just sort of a weekly variety. We've talked about Midnight Suns randomly because we were both playing it a whole lot. Then we talked about DC Dual Force, which is a game nobody's heard of, and why nobody's heard of it, because it was a disaster. This week's going to be delving into The Punisher, King of Killers series by Jason Aaron. And yeah, that's where we're at.
I was just going to say, when you say hosts, I guess who are the hosts other than yourself?
There's a number of different people. We rotate. Mike's been on. We did Smallville together on Top 3, Bottom 3, which, man, that was a trip. Like, that show was better than I ever gave it credit for, especially watching the 3 quote-unquote worst episodes. I mean, there was only one that was kind of bad and a real slog to get through.
Yep.
The other 2 were just kind of like entertainment. They were filler sort of stuff, but there was a little bit of character work, but it wasn't bad, quote unquote.
Yep.
And then the top 3 were really good. So that was interesting. Anyway, the other host, I mean, one of them is my wife. I have somebody new on this week to discuss Punisher. So we've got a number of different people.
I got one more quick question for you. How does your wife have a fear of like hearing her voice, or like talking on a microphone, then hearing her voice back? Because I tried to get my wife to record.
I was going to say, I feel like you're talking about yours.
I am, and I can't seem to convince her to do it. Like she's very knowledgeable on all things as they relate to like geekdom, but she's afraid to get on and talk on the microphone.
Oh man, I should have her on my show then. But no, it didn't take a lot of work. She just kind of wanted to do it to support me. She knew I kind of wanted to get back into podcasting because I'm crazy. Had too much free time, too much disposable income. So hey,
there's a lot of money in it. So
yeah, let's pick something that'll ruin both of those things. Yay!
I love how he says "get back into it," and I know what he means. He means of him doing it
of actual hosting. Yeah, no, I've been on your show a ton of times.
No, I know, but I'm like, dude, we've been doing shit for like a decade now.
Yeah, my constant ruining of your shows.
Right. You know. Wah, 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 wah. All right, so really quickly, comic related, but we're going to switch from Transformers to Turtles.
Whatever your plug.
This is my plug because I put the press release on geekcastradio.com.
Oh, all right.
IDW Publishing, the 150th issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will be its final epic emotional finale. And one of Ryan's favorite writers, when they relaunch it, Jason Aaron will be writing TMNT.
Yeah, we accidentally tie in that I'm doing his finale for. It's also the last thing he wrote for Marvel, and before going kind of fully independent. But he was full time at Marvel for a long time, and wrote some stuff I really like. He did write one thing I really don't like, and. For the most part, though, it was exceptionally good output and created a ton of characters and stuff that the Marvel movies have used. So
So with the new TMNT that IDW is going to be doing, launching a new TMNT comic series in the midst of the character's 40th anniversary is clearly one of those dream jobs of all comic book dream jobs, says Aaron, especially for me, a kid who first fell in love with the Turtles all those years ago because of that original Mirage Studios series, buying those groundbreaking issues fresh off the rack, comics that kicked you in the face with their action-packed grit and glorious raw attitude. So it's going to be very interesting to see where IDW takes the Turtles after issue 150. And my buddy Joe and I have been reviewing the IDW Turtles run since January of 2014, and it is so good.
It's been very good,
yeah, so good. I actually have a quote on issue number 55 of that series. If you've ever been a TMNT fan at all, you should check this out, Geekcast Radio. So, geekcastradio.com, folks, go check it out. There's my plug. Are you happy now?
No.
You're not really, but
I know you're not happy, Ryan. Wasn't asking you.
I'm going to plug it again here in a second for you, so don't worry. So my plug will be your plug.
Ew.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
So if you're watching this, you're already there. But if you're listening to this on geekcastradio.com, you can check me out at youtube.com/matrix_prime. I am not on Twitter. It looks like Ryan's new podcast is. I can't view it because, again, I'm not on Twitter. But you can find me on Blue Sky. I'm at Jesse Early, JESSEEARLEY.BSKY.social. You can find me there. You don't need a Blue Sky account to be able to see my post on there now. So they did open that up.
I wanted to talk to you about this because I find this absolutely hilarious. I wish I could give credit to who made this joke, but people are now calling it Twix, not Twitter. I just find that hilarious.
I've not seen that anywhere. So.
It is a wretched hive of scum and villainy. I do not enjoy being back there again.
It's not that bad. You just have to curate it so you don't see the hive of scum and villainy.
Come to Blue Sky, then I can actually see your content.
Yeah, I will. Then I can cross
if you
post
need
there
an invite, I
fill
can
it
send
with more
you
stuff.
Yeah, if you need an invite, I can probably send you one since I don't really use Blue Sky all that much.
Yeah, I've got 4 just waiting to give out. So. So those are my plugs. Anything else before we sign off?
No, this has been enjoyable. Thanks for inviting me. If anyone out there hasn't, for whatever reason, they're listening to a podcast about issue 4 of the comic, but hasn't picked it up, give it a shot. It's definitely worth it.
Wholeheartedly agree. Anything else from you, Mike?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right, so This is it for this episode. What do we got next? We got Transformers number 5. At some point,
I was going to say, I hope you're doing 5 next.
No, we're ending it at this. At some point, we're going to get together and discuss Duke and Cobra Commander. Is that right, Mike?
As soon as I get paid next month,
All right, so you got to pick up Cobra Commander yet. Do you have Duke, or you don't have Duke yet?
No, I got to pick them both up.
You got to pick them both up. Well, by that time, Duke number 2 will be out, right?
Yeah, so we could technically do Cobra Commander 1, Duke 1 and 2, or do Cobra Commander 1 and Duke 1, and then do Duke. Whatever. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, yeah. All right. All right, so until next time, this is all of us signing